Okay, here we are at lunch. So let me see what was said. I have to reread. I'll put these up on the screen. Let me see here. Pryor says his intention of calling Wood is to be used as impeachment evidence. Wait a second. Pryor, wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me see this. So, so Pryor is going to call. Am I reading that right? Pryor is going to call Rob Wood as a witness. Am I reading that right? What am I reading? Is to be used as impeachment evidence. Boyce says items can be sealed to preserve the rights of a fair trial, and a lot of work into finishing, sorry, finding an impartial jury for this case. Boyce says the companion case has already gone through trial and we already have a jury, so the hearing this afternoon will not be sealed. So I'm trying to figure out what he was saying. He's what? He's his intention. Pryor says his intention of calling Wood is to be used as impeachment evidence. Hmm. Okay. Anyway, so that's good to know that the hearing is not going to be so that we can actually see it when it happens after lunch, so about 1 o'clock. Okay, so I wanted to take a look at the stuff that was stated earlier with all of these emails. So I'm going to take us back to the beginning here. Yes, this right here. Yes. I always get really annoyed when they take all the hearings and you can't see them, or they do them in chambers, or order the cameras and everybody out and all the stuff. I think the public should be able to see stuff. Even the jury is one thing, but we should be able to see stuff. But that doesn't always. The judges don't always do it that way, and we just put up with it. Okay, so let me make sure that I have so. So Rob Wood, I thought was the lead prosecutor, but it's not the lead. I forgot the lead prosecutor is Lindsay Blake. So Rob Wood is on the. Okay, there's Rob Wood, Lindsay Blake, Rocky Wixom, and then do they have a fourth person? I think there's somebody, another lady. I I think. I don't know. I don't know. So, am I understanding that he plans that Pryor plans on calling Rob Wood as a witness? Is that what I just heard? Like in his case? Oops, Stephanie, you're stuck. Is something happening with the chat? Hold on a second. Oh, okay, no worries. Stephanie's cat must or pet must have walked across her keyboard. Either that or she just passed out. Stephanie, are you okay? All right. So I want to get. Let me. I have to get this. Let me take that off. Let me present 1 second. I want to be able to see. But okay. Let's see if I can make this big enough so we can see it. How does that look? I don't. Yeah, I need to. I need to move this so it's up here. Sorry, I'm looking up at the sky again. So which way would be better? Let me see. Oh, that's better. Let me see. Is it? Let me see if I can widen it out a little bit. There we go. Oh, but I got to remember to scroll up here. I can read down there and scroll up there. Boy, am I multitasking. Now let's see. We want to go back. I had it. Whoops, I forgot. I already checked. So let me find it. Let me find it again. One second. It's got to get to the. We are back in the. There we are. We are back in the court. All right. So that's all the cell phone extraction. Duncan reads email reportedly. Oh, yes. Okay, so let's see what we got. I don't know if he quoted these emails and stuff. I'll see. So we're back here. Blake shows a slide on the screen that says Charles Vallow's cell phone extraction data. Duncan reads an email purportedly from Charles to Chad inviting him to visit Arizona to help him write a book. So that is why, right there, why we had a connection, or why we saw all the stuff about Charles and the shooting and all that stuff and laying on the ground, because there is a connection between Chad and Charles. So Charles wanted to write a book, and he contacted Chad since Chad was an author. But what was his reason? Was this before he knew that there was a connection, that his wife possibly was having an affair with Chad, or was this just him simply reaching out to somebody they know or that he was familiar with as an author? Let's keep going. The email says Charles will pay Chad well to be ghostwriter. He asked Chad to come visit him for a few days to talk about the book project, and the publishing business. Duncan says this was a document that Charles said he found on Lori's computer. So Duncan found it, or Duncan says that Charles said that. Okay, so got to keep my who says what, because there's some speculation on whether or not some of this stuff really did come from Charles, or was it from Chad or Lori or whatever. This was the first letter where he suspected Lori. Aha, there it is right there, where he suspected Lori was having an affair with Chad. All indications in Charles' phone is this letter was fictitious and not created by him. That's what Duncan said. But that's the part, because it says that Duncan says that this was a document that Charles said he found on Laura's computer. So how is it fictitious then? Was it verbally stated, or was it mentioned in all this stuff as as an indicator that it was supposed to be from Charles? And that's why Duncan is saying all indications in Charles' phone is this letter was fictitious. That's where there's a confusion there for me. Okay, so you guys, let me know what your thoughts are as I go through this, and I'll stick you up on the screen, and we can kind of go back and forth with this, because that confuses me. That Duncan says this was a document that Charles said he found on Laura's computer. So at what point was this stated? Was it stated when Charles contacted them several times about his wife? Because we remember all the footage we saw where he was talking with, I believe it was law enforcement out in front of his house. They were standing in front of the garage and all that stuff. And I remember all that footage when Charles was talking about his thought process on what was happening with his wife, and he was concerned and stuff. So Jane is saying, let's see. Cross. Oh, okay. So this one. So Chad faked all the emails. So yes, but who? Duncan says Charles said he found it on Lori's computer. Was it Chad pretending to be Charles, or what? Because that's not clear to me. And so I struggle with that one. We may not get answers to this. Something about there was a question about Wood trying to influence testimony of Summer, a relative of Zulema, mangling these names. Okay, yes. Zulema. You got it. Yes, Zulema was married to Alex for 2 weeks before he passed away. All right, so next thing, did I get it? Okay, that's the extraction. Let me get it. Okay. The next one, Blake asks Duncan if he was aware of other investigations as he was working on Charles' case. He says he was aware of Tammy's death, the attempted shooting of Brandon Boudreaux, and missing kids. Blake asks Duncan if Lori had brothers named Alex and Adam. This is the first time I personally have heard of Adam. But Adam is it's not part of the case. He was not in, like he says here. He says, Duncan says she did. He says Adam was never a suspect in this investigation, but Alex was. The next slide shows a message between Charles and Lori. Charles confronts Lori about the affair in the texts and calls Lori evil. So what I would like to do is compare this first one that's supposed to be from Charles to this one that Charles sends to sends to Lori, and see if they match up the way people speak and stuff, like or type or whatever. Because I'm seeing some of them, I felt like when he was reading them, they seemed very written by someone who does a lot of writing. If that makes any sense. Like maybe it is Chad pretending to be Charles, creating this narrative or these things for the police to find. Just do they match up? Does the language on them match up? The typing and the way people talk and stuff like that. So there we go. Like next slide shows message. Then we have Charles tells Lori in another text that he has Tammy Daybell's email address and he will email her. He tells Lori he better explain. Charles sends another text saying he has Tammy's cell and Lori has until noon to explain, or he will email and text Tammy. So I'm thinking that there's something that some of the stuff is coming from Chad, because something like that, even though it's not a direct quote and Nate is just saying what was said, I still think that the way it's written we'll probably see some differences, and we'll be like, yeah, that's not Charles. Yeah, that one's Charles. Nope, that one's not, type of thing. Because I think that Chad, in the way he speaks and the way he probably writes, I have not seen any of his writings. I have not read any of his books. This is the first time I haven't even seen anything about the storm. This is all new to me. So I'm thinking that we're going to see a lot of the way he speaks and stuff is going to be very evident. And if he's trying to throw law enforcement off by putting things in there or in all of this stuff, if he probably has access to all of this. Lori probably gave him access to everything. Wouldn't be surprised if he was all up inside all of this. So let me see where y'all are at. Something of, okay. So I wonder if that's going to be the line of reason. I'm just learning this stuff. Oh, the first part you said, this one right here. Question of, okay. Okay, so like I think I like you said here, I'm kind of leaning towards that a little bit in what I in the stuff. Yes, you can tell the voice through text. Some yes, and sometimes it's hard to tell intent, or even if somebody's on camera and intent of a person doesn't always come across the way they mean it. I I'm constantly being accused of certain things or whatever, and I don't mean it. I'm just an autistic woman trying to live life, and I maybe I don't get things right. Oh, good Lord. Anyway, uh, see, Stephen, I don't think I type the way I speak in person. I'm typing online as very American slang. Um, I I'm one of those odd people that really does kind of sort of type a lot of the way I speak, except for I do have issues where reading or getting my thoughts to words doesn't always come out right. So, but usually when I'm typing in words, meaning I'm not a finger typer. I'm one letter at a time. I'm a word typer, and I kind of will type in text like it is in my head. Like I'll use um like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and that kind of like little things in little idioms that you put in and whatever. I will type them that way. And I've been accused of trying to make fun of nationality because of the way I type, but I'm not. I'm not. No, when I'm typing in type, I have a way. I call it a cutesy, silly way of typing, and especially if I know you and we're type texting back and forth or whatever, I will type that way, and I'm not trying to be on camera, trying to be you know this camera person, but in text, yes, I'm sillier, and you can see it in my uh, typing. Also, context is also missed a lot of times, like what somebody meaning of what somebody means, and that's why a lot of times I do use a lot of emojis, or I do the XOXO thing, or uh, in this thing you can't really do emojis that I'm typing in for this live, but in chats and stuff, I try to do a lot of that emoji stuff, just so people know my intent of what I'm trying to say. All right, so Blake, let me see, where was I? So, so Charles has confronted Lori. Uh, Let me see here. So I think we did this part is when Charles tells Lori in another text that he has Tammy Daybell's email address and he will email her. He tells Lori he better explain. Charles sends another text saying he has Tammy's cell and Lori has until noon to explain, or he will email text to Tammy. Blake asked Duncan if he learned Charles tried to make contact with Tammy. He says Charles did send emails to Tammy, but there is no indication she looked at the emails or received them. We now see more messages from Charles to Lori. He tells Lori he has emailed Tammy and their game is up. He later texts, please stop spending money on the credit cards. I appreciate it. I don't use credit cards. Cash or nothing. So Duncan says there is no evidence Charles tried to visit Tammy in person. We now see an email that Charles sent Tammy's work email on June 29th, 2019. Charles says he has some vital and disturbing information about her husband and his wife. I apologize to be the one sending this, but something has to be done. I feel it's best if I shed some light on this situation, he wrote. Duncan reads another email. The subject says, your husband and my wife. And then the body says, are having an affair. I have definite proof. If you care to see it, contact me. Duncan was not able to determine whether Tammy ever saw the emails. Duncan now reads an email Charles sent to Chad. He confronts Chad about the fake email about Charles wanting to write a book. So this is the fake email. So now even Nate is considering it to be a fake email. So wait a second. Fake email Chad to Chad then. So why would Chad send or create a fake email to connect himself to Charles? You know, why Duncan now reads an email Charles sent the fake email about Charles wanting to write a book and come visit. Either you or Lori need to tell me what's going on, or this will be exposed for all to see. Regards, Charles Vallow. He wrote. Then he adds, and does your wife know you have several of Lori's dance videos? Holy crap. She sent them to you at your request in January. Explain how that is in any way inappropriate or any way appropriate. So what I'm getting from this is that Charles knew about the fake email. So Charles is confronting Chad, right? Yes. So Charles is confronting Chad about this thing where he wanted to write a book, which is why that initial email sounds like it's written from Chad, and now it makes sense to me. Got it. Dance videos. Oh, are you guys? Did you guys get where I get with that? Are we there yet? Did we figure it out? Because I think that's why I'm looking at the one from there, and it just doesn't seem like it's something or anything the way we know Charles talks and whatever. So now we know it's a fake email, which I'm sure it was said while this was going on, but I have to read this again to make the connection. All right. The next slide. So the next slide is a message from Charles to Lori on June 3rd, 2019. He confronts Lori about, okay, so I'm trying to keep in my mind one thing. Let me stop real quick. I'm trying to keep in mind. Tammy Daybell passed away on October 19th, 2019. If I remember properly. So that I'm trying to keep that in my head. So all this was prior to that, of course, duh, she's alive. I'm trying to keep that thing in my head because I'm looking, okay, so now we're at, the next slide is a message from Charles to Lori on June 3rd, 2019. He confronts Lori about the affair and says, there really is something wrong with you. You have to be exposed for what you are, he says. He tells her lying has become second nature to her and has blamed him for everything. So this is the same. Oh my gosh. Where did it go? I was looking for this is what I was giggling at. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is the part of stuff that I like. I know I'm yakking a lot and whatever, but this is me trying to sink this in my brain, trying to understand and follow what we just heard. And this is why I love reporters like Nate who do this so that we can see it and we can get and stay like stay up with what they're trying to say in the trial, because sometimes you can get lost, in my opinion, especially if your mind wanders like mine. You can get lost in the technicality of what the attorneys are saying in the questions and stuff that go back and cloth. Loincloth. Sorry. Sorry, I looked down and saw loincloth. Oh no. Oh, I don't want to read his books. I'd probably laugh through the whole blinking thing and oh, uh, yeah, Duncan reads Charles. Okay, so we did that. So we've got it to where Charles wants to expose her for her lying ways. Duncan now and again, that's how uh Charles types and writes and stuff compared to that first email. So I am now convinced that Chad made that email up for some reason to attach him to Charles. That's why would you, if you knew that this person was going to end up passing away because he was dark, why would you connect yourself to him that way? I I don't understand that part. Duncan now reads an email. Let me get a sip. Sorry. Duncan now reads an email Charles sent to Chad. He confronts Chad about the fake email. Did I already do that one? Yeah, maybe I did that one. Oh, no, wait. No, oh, I'm trying to scroll. Duncan. Oh, wait. So did I do that one? Maybe. Duncan says there is that where I'm at? Blake asked Duncan if he learned Charles. Duncan says there is no evidence Charles tried to visit Tammy. Information about her husband. Apologized to be. Okay. Maybe I'm going to read it again because now I don't know where I was. Duncan says there is no evidence Charles tried to visit Tammy in person. We now see an email Charles sent Tammy's work email on June 29, 2019. Charles says he has some vital and disturbing information about her husband and his wife. I apologize to be the one sending this, but something has to be done. I feel it's best if I shed some light on this, he wrote. This was June 29th. When somebody put in chat, when again was Charles supposedly killed by self-defense? What's the date on that one? My date people. Uh, Duncan reads another email. The subject is your husband. Okay, we got that one. Now I'm going to go down. Duncan now reads the email sent to Chad. He confronts Chad about the fake email. Okay, that's the dance videos. The next slide is a message from Charles to Lori on June 3rd. He confronts Lori about their affair, says it really is something. Okay, that's the lying thing. Duncan was not aware of any divorce proceedings between Charles and Lori around this time, but there was indication they had separated and were living in different locations. The next slide shows more messages found on Charles' devices. These are text messages between Charles and Lori. He tells Lori he's going to Idaho to meet with Tammy. Lori says Tammy won't listen to him as she is her friend. There is a back and forth between Charles and Lori about the fake letter found on Charles' phone. The next slide shows messages between Charles and Adam Cox around 7:30 a.m. the day Charles was shot. So what the messages show They were both concerned as Alex was at Lori's house. Remember, Adam Cox was never implicated in anything in this case. So let me see what y'all said about the date I was looking for. 7/11. So 7/11, let me put that up on the screen so we that. So 7/11 is when Charles was shot. Okay, so 7, that's July. So we have June 3rd, and then the next date we have is this one. That's the back and forth on the day Charles was shot. And that's the one, that's the ones that, okay, so I'm caught up. Okay, after this text exchange, communication ceased on Charles' phone. He was shot and killed right after these messages were sent. Oh. So Charles was taken out, in my opinion, because he had confronted them and was going to out Lori and Chad to Tammy. So then why take Tammy out? Because I bet you Tammy finally found out. So this was 7/11. Tammy died October 19th. So they went from July continuing their affair. When did Tammy find out? How long did Tammy know before she died about the affair? Whew. After the exchange, okay, so all communication from him ceased. Duncan says he reviewed Lori's iCloud accounts, Lori for Style and Lolly Time. Lolly Time. I don't even want to know what that puts in my head. Oh, take that out. Take that out. I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about that. Oh, sorry. There was a significant amount of information in those accounts. Duncan has an exhibit that caught his attention about what was in her accounts. Blake asks to admit the exhibit. Boyce says the PowerPoint can be admitted. The presentation shows what was found on Lori for Style account and phone numbers associated with her. The first slide shows messages between Lori and Alex in March 2019. So March is backing up. That was before all of it. Okay, sorry. Trying to keep a timeline in my head. About Ned being gone. Ned, we remember, is Ned Schneider. Ned is what Lori called the entity doohickey thingy inside of Charles. Okay, so Ned Schneider. The first slide shows between Ned being gone. Alex messages Lori about getting rid of Ned and Ned still being alive. Now, she's not calling, in my opinion, maybe I'm trying to think about it. I'm trying to keep Ned as an entity and not Charles. I think that every time she was speaking to Ned, I personally believe she thought she was speaking to a dark spirit, not Charles. Charles isn't the problem. The dark spirit that she believes is inside of Charles, which he has 3, I think, because there's Ned and Hiplos and Garrett, I think, was the 3rd one. So she's actually talking about Ned, the spirit, because remember, I think that they were big into doing things to get rid of stuff out of people, spirits, and all the stuff, if I remember correctly. So I bet she's not talking about him being dead. Remember, this is back in March. She's talking about Ned the spirit. Is Ned still alive? Alive would be inside of Charles. You see? So she's not referring to Charles being dead yet. I don't know, Mal. Mal asks this, sorry. I don't know. I don't know that kind of stuff. I'm just trying to link this and trying to get it in my head. I hope I'm not annoying anybody by doing this. But okay, so we got Ned. So Ned is still being alive, which means that if they are trying to get rid of Ned uh, out of Charles's body, they haven't succeeded yet because Ned is still alive, meaning that Ned is probably still residing in Charles. Okay. Interesting that it's three, the number 3. Number 3 in religion is a whole thing. That and 7. I think 7 is a number, another number thingy. All right. So, Lori, okay, so Alex messages Lori about getting rid of Ned and Ned still being alive. Lori responds at one point saying, "It's not Ned and it's a new one." Oh my goodness. So now we've moved on to the new one being Hiplos, I bet you. Betcha. Duncan says so then Ned, she's got Ned gone. So Ned is dead. Ned is dead. I assume that's what she's saying. It's not Ned, or at least she's not referring to Ned because now we got Hiplos to bring in. Oh, good Lord. So Duncan says through his investigation, Charles was designated as Garrett and Hiplos. He says the phrase, "it's a new one," refers to a new dark spirit that had entered his body. Duncan reads a message from a lady named Nicole to Lori on October 19th. Aha! Look at what we got here. Duncan reads a message from lady named Nicole to Lori on October 19th, saying Chad's wife had died. Lori says, "Oh my gosh, I'm in Hawaii." The lady asks Lori what happened, and Lori says Tammy woke up in the night, coughing, threw up, collapsed, and passed away. So this doesn't really, I still kind of want to go down this whole Hiplos path now. I got myself into that. So we now see a message from Melanie Gibb. Enter Melanie Gibb. To Lori on the same day, saying, "I heard what happened to Chad's wife. Oh my gosh." Lori responded, "Hello, what? Hello, what?" The message indicates that Lori was unaware Tammy had passed away, even though she had communicated with Nicole earlier in the day about the death. We now see a text from November 22nd, 2019 from Lori to Colby Ryan, her son. "I text Ty to send it, but haven't heard back yet. She will probably, Ty being Ty Lee, she will probably just do it before she tells me. Hope you got the Venmo. Ty said she sent it late. I'll call you when I get a break." Ty Lee had been dead for over 2 months at this point. Holy crud. Ugh. This is a lot. Okay, so we moved from all that stuff. I think we kind of figured out what was going on with all of that, and now we're up to November 22nd. We passed by Tammy's death, and now we've moved on to Melanie Gibb being entering into the storyline, if you want to call it that, whatever this is. Message indicates, okay. So now Lori is working and continuing to speak as if Ty Lee is still alive because no one knows that she's not, but she's already been dead for 2 months at this point. And now we now see a slide showing Lolly time at iCloud.com. It was created on July 1st, 2019. So backing up again on the timeline, taking it all the way back to July. The next slide shows a text from Lori to Alex on July 9th, 2019. So the plot thickens. Call me when you can. On July 9th, 2019, she sends another message to Alex about how he needs her to stay close to him and say they are planning some kind of intervention. Thank you for standing by me. It's all coming to a head this week. I will be like Nephi. That's right. I remember. I know the name Nephi. I will be like Nephi, I am told, and so will you. I forget Nephi. We can look that up later. Nephi is a in Mormon religion. Nephi. Let me see. Okay. Who is Nephi in the Book of Mormon? There we go. Nephi is one of the central figures described. Here, let me put it in the chat so y'all can see this too. Nephi. Okay. So Nephi is one of the central figures described in the Book of Mormon. In the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, he is described as the son of Lehi, a prophet, the founder of the Nephite people. He is also the author of the first two books of the Book of Mormon, 1st and 2nd Nephi. Okay, so, but yes, but so Nephi was the fourth of the son of Lehi and Sarah. Two younger brothers, Jacob and Joseph, would be born during the 8 or more years of wilderness sojourning. Aha, there we go. Let's put this in right here. This is it. All right. I hope this isn't boring. So Nephi, so Jacob and Joseph would be born during the 8 or more years of the wilderness sojourning. So basically, they're kind of likening themselves to this. He also had 2 or more sisters. He must have been, so they're in the middle. This is a process, since we know this goes all the way into October. So they are sojourning and going through all this to get rid of all the spirits and the zombies and all this, whatever. Probably that's the sojourning and all. I bet you that's sort of the connection. Thoughts? What do you guys think about that? He also had 2 or more sisters. He must have been in his late teens when he married one of Ishmael's 5 daughters. Okay, so there's some Book of Mormon for you. All right, so back to where was I? We now see a slide showing Lifetime. The next slide shows a text from Alice and Lori. The plot thickens. We're back to down there planning some kind of intervention. Okay, so this is the Nephi one. These messages were sent 2 days before Charles died. Charles and Adam were planning an intervention based on the disturbing things Lori was doing and saying. This is all connecting why Charles died. This is it. How in the world is defense going to, I'm telling you, this is excellent work. The connection that they're making, because we were sitting there trying to decide, well, why are they talking about him being shot when he had nothing to do with it? He wasn't charged. He thinks that since he didn't have anything to do with it, he's not connected to that. But actually, the connection is behind the scenes in emails and texts and finding out the truth and all the stuff that they extracted from all the cell phones. Oh my goodness! At least that's what I'm seeing. So Charles and Adam were planning on, based on the disturbing things that Lori was doing and saying. The next slide shows there were messages between Chad and Lori the morning of July 11th, the day of Charles' death. So July 11th, Charles' death day. Oh, that sounds terrible. but there is no content of what the actual texts were. There is a record they occurred, but we don't know what they said. One is sent at 6:12 a.m., another at 7:01 a.m., another at 7:33 a.m. Charles arrived at home that morning around 7:30 a.m. based on location data of his phone. We now see text messages between Lori and Chad on July 18, 2019. Lori sent Chad messages saying she got a letter from the insurance company saying she is not the beneficiary. It's spear through my heart. Who do you think he changed it to? Brandon? Probably Kay. Chad responds, wow, that's terrible. There is no way to find out? Lori to Chad, nope. They go back and forth with Chad saying, I love you. This is terrible, but it is probably another step in bringing down the Gadian, oh, good Lord, Gadiantons, especially Brandon. What the heck? Uh-oh. So now I don't know what this is. So Lori sent that to Chad. Letter from insurance company saying he's not. Oh. Oh. It's a letter from the insurance company saying she is not the beneficiary. Oh. So. Oh my gosh. All of this stuff, they are doing this like everyone is saying. They're doing it for the thing. They went through all this. And then she finds out she's not the beneficiary. Oh, Gideon. Oh, good Lord. Giddy up. Some of these words get me tongue tied. So let me see. Let's see. Are are y'all dying? Do y'all need me to stop now? This is totally interesting to me once I'm figuring this out of my brain. It's like they just placed themselves in this view of their world. It was probably manipulation that gets embedded in your head, sorry, get myself in trouble for singing a song. Oh, now some zombies. There you go. Oh, wait, what? Sorry. I'm all see, like I'm saying, I can hear it. I can sit here and listen, but it doesn't. I don't make a connection to it until I can see it visually, and this helps me see it visually. Hearing it first being spoken about over the thing, and then going back over it this way. I hope that this is good and not boring AF. Okay, so I'm going to keep going until they come back because we have about 9 minutes. So I'm going to get as far as I can. So we now see text message, Lori, because that's the one saying, okay, that's that one. The Gideontons or Giddy something or other. So okay, so I think that's what I'm seeing is that she finds out she's not the freaking beneficiary July 18th. It's a spear through my heart. Who do you think he changed it to? Brandon? Oh my gosh. Is that why Brandon was shot at? Or probably Kay? Kay? Who's Kay? Chad responds, wow, that's terrible. There is no way to find out? Lori to Chad, nope. They go back and forth with Chad saying, I love you. This is terrible, but it is probably another step in bringing down the Gideontons. I had to, especially Brandon. Ooh, the Gideontons. I can't with this stuff. Oh my goodness. Chad writes, it will be interesting if it got changed after he had two. Oh my Lord. Chad writes, it will be interesting if it got changed after he had 2 bullets in his head, in his chest. Whoops, sorry. As Duncan is reading these messages, Chad Daybell stares up at the screen and does not show much of a reaction. Oh, I think Chad thought he was safe, that he wasn't connected to Charles. This is just, oh. People don't realize that what you put in text is forever. What you put on the internet is forever. So be careful what you say. That's the lesson of the day. And I rhymed. Oh my goodness. So this is to me why Brandon was shot at and then of course missed. So 2 times 2 different people were shot at and missed. At the time Charles was killed, Lori believed she was getting insurance money. The next message was sent from Lori to Chad on July 18th, 2019. Oh, Charles was one step ahead of him, but not enough. But not enough. He had all, oh my goodness. So I talked to the insurance company. He changed it in March. Oh, Charles. Oh, he tried. I remember watching all the videos of him talking about all of this stuff and watching him and going back and looking at it. And it just broke my heart watching him. So it was probably Ned before we got rid of him. They can't tell me to who, of course, but it's done. I still get the $4,000 a month from SS, which means Social Security, and stands, Social Security. All right, now this thing here, I'm sure this is okay to show this. Tonight I figured out who I feel like. I'm a grown-up version of Harry Potter. Oh, he has to live with the Dudleys in his little space under the stairs. Every few weeks, I get to escape and have amazing adventures with my goddess lover. But then I have to return to my place under the stairs, feeling trapped, but I sense permanent freedom is coming. Oh, I'm sorry to laugh. I'm sorry. But, oh, we now see a message from Chad to Lori on July 26th, 2019. It's the Harry Potter text, which I just read. We now see a text that Alex sent to Lori on September 3rd, 2019. Alex to Lori. Network name is Anti-Lamon. PW is too many kids. What? What? Oh, wait. No, I lost it. Lori to Alex. Funny. The last known sighting of Tylee was around September 8th. And the last known sighting of JJ was around September 22nd. Oh my gosh. Oh. Blake asks Duncan if he reviewed content from Zulema Pestinus. I'm trying to remember how they pronounced it. Pestinus. Phone number. He did. Zulema was married to Alex. Duncan was only 2 weeks married. He died 2 weeks after. Duncan says the content of her phone was voluminous. One of my favorite words, voluminous, rolls off the tongue. Blake asks to admit an exhibit showing the content of Zulema's phone. Duncan reads messages between Zulema and Lori. Lori messages Zulema on May 22nd, 2019 about Hypnos being a level 4. A level 4 sounds like a... Oh my goodness. We've moved into gaming. That's a... Sorry. Lori sent another message about going to the truck and hovering over it. More messages. Zulema says she was given instructions to rip, tar, or burn the aura of Hypnos to let the body energy out. Chad sends a message to Zulema saying Mother Earth is grateful for Lori and Zulema. He offers to give Zulema a blessing on July 11th after seeing It's Crazy About Charles, but such a relief. So Charles dying was offers to give. So the blessing for Zulema was Charles dying? Is that what that says? Oh my goodness. Oh, it's crazy about Charles, but such a relief. Ugh. Duncan says he never saw any indication of grief about the loss of Charles in any of the phone messages he observed. We now see email sent on April 21st, 2019. It is purportedly from Karen of at Avow. The letter is inviting Chad to come and speak at a youth conference in Houston about the temple. The lady says 400 kids will be attending, and she wants him to come speak about his book. Ugh. Is there any chance you could come? Hi, Councilman is currently the main speaker, but he says he would be happy to let you speak in his place. The letter offers Chad a flight and place to stay. The email came from KK Walker Yahoo account, which was linked to Lori. The email was sent from the area of Katy, Texas, where Lori was staying at the time. Chad responds to the email saying he would be able to come and let the wards know. Duncan does not know whether Chad went to Texas. Blake asks if Duncan was contacted about a call made to a mortuary in Arizona. He was. It was the Valley of the Sun mortuary. Blake asks to admit the phone call made to Chad at the mortuary. Then we hear that. I'm going to stop it here at 11:45 because we're now at noon, or because I want to make sure I have to get back into the thing to be able to put the trial up. But I just want to stop here. I was thinking if you want to, a little bit after this ends, we can go back and look at this if you want to. If you don't want to, we don't have to. But I just think this is just the most interesting thing ever. Oh my goodness. Holy moly. But I'm going to stop it here. Yes. Sorry about the rabbit hole, y'all. Oh my goodness. That was awesome. It's not awesome. It's just a lot. And it is heartbreaking, but it's also like as a person who likes to go through this kind of stuff and deep dive into whatever. Oh, I'm emotionally drained. Oh. Okay, let me stop. Okay, I'm going to get us back to the trials so we don't miss it. But if we want to go back through that, that would be awesome. Some of these things, if I ever get a membership thing going, we can go into some major deep dives over the weekend or stuff like this during this kind of thing. That would be interesting to see happen. Members onlys and stuff like that with deep dives. I'm tired. Was I a lot and very embarrassing? Is that going to end up all over? Somebody's going to take screenshots of my face. Oh, okay. Let me get us back. Y'all just experienced an emotional roller coaster of Addi. All right. So, was that good or was that a never a do? Don't ever do that again. Oh. I was trying to look over here and see what y'all were saying at the same time, but I was on a roll because my brain is trying to process as we're going through them, and all of a sudden I'm seeing connections. The way that they have laid this out is actually very good, even though there's a back and forth between having to really keep that timeline up. Like if I could do that, that would be great. If I had more screen available, I could stick so we could see it all. But to see the timeline and stuff and go back and forth and see how this is all laid out, it's amazing. Oh my goodness. And Nate, and putting it and typing all that out, he typed out just enough. Very good job, Nate. Yep. We need to make sure he gets an award for his journalism. So I'm going to see what you guys are saying real quick. Just I'm back to the Addie's reaction just now. That's where I I'm I'm a little too I'm not that type of autistic person where I'm very monotone and all the time like this. I'm extremely emotional and I get caught up in it, and when I'm not paying attention, it can be a lot. I wear myself out. By the end of the night, uh, I'm drained. Yes, this literally is the arrest affidavit. So I'm looking at some awesome coming. Yeah, okay, so y'all are like, go, keep going. Oh my goodness. She's not there. Keep going, Brian. It might okay. So back here we got so she decided to off yep. Yes. Yeah. So but here's the thing. Are they doing this because they believe in these things, or are they using their beliefs to cover getting the money? I personally think it's intertwined. I think that they've created this world and they're trying to get to this world, and they have to get rid of all these obstacles in the way that they feel. And I don't think they've created these things. We're going to say this is what they've got going on. I think they truly all believe that this is what is happening with these people, but they need to get rid of them so they can have this realm with the prophets and have this whole thing, and Zulima and Alex and all of them. I don't even think they were expecting Alex to die. I think that Alex was always going to be the taker care. He was the one who was taking care of the goddess. Aha! In my opinion, I think that's what he was there for. He was taking care of the goddess. KK, aka Lori, Lolo, whatever other names she's got going on. So, oh, K, okay, yes, K, okay. So there, K Woodcock. Oh my goodness, how could I forget the sweet Woodcocks? Kay and Larry. I am so sorry. I did not mean to forget you. There's just a lot of names. And then you add KK in there. And I'm like, what? Oh. So this one I like, the Giddy Uptons. Oh my goodness. These words. Oh. 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 So from New York, we put accents on the beginning part of that word. So which one was that? This is way back when. This is way up there. Sorry, I've scrolled back way far. Just kind of try to get an idea. Yes, and I just hit down the rabbit hole. Isn't layman a person in the Mormon Bible? Probably. Layman, and I think is also in the other Bible. Boring, boring, boring. What's boring? Oh no, I bored her to death. Isn't layman? Yeah, I'm dying over. Oh. She meant HIPAA. Oh, see, this is a thing with trying to go back after I went through all that, and now I'm like trying to piece together what you guys were saying while I was in a hole. It's all coming back to me now. It's been a long time since I've read the affidavit. Actually, that would be actually kind of neat if we could get our hands on that. That'd be kind of something fun to do at a later time, is go over the affidavit. I'd love to get us in a member chat. Maybe some of us can get on the live together and do this together. Y'all don't even have to be on camera. You could just be your voices if you ever wanted to, and then we could go down a whole rabbit hole and try to do this stuff together. Because that part, like picking stuff apart and going through it and dissecting it, is awesome, and it's even better when you have somebody else to do it with and not just yourself. Because my memory, having to connect things, but I think I did pretty good on connecting what we just read. Oh, Mal says, oh, just enjoying adding to the max, and you dynamite chatter. And Brian too. Oh my goodness. I'm kind of scrolling through to see. Yes. Oh my goodness. Rabbit holes. Oh my goodness. They will wear you out though. And it's interesting, and I love the deep dives. Yes, they it's a lot. It's a lot, but it you kind of can piece it together when you can put it all. Now, is this, of course, we're going to hear the defense side, and I want to try to piece what they have to say in with what we have here, what we're seeing in all these texts. I am going to go back and take all of this, uh, all the text stuff, and make a video out of it, and then we can uh, have that up there too. I'll try and see if, like I said earlier, that I'll try and see if I can enlarge, make sure we're okay. Okay. Yes. Enlarge those texts if I can. If I have the gumption, maybe I'll type them out. He read it, so his reading it, I can transcribe it. Let's see here. So, Addi, I love it, and I appreciate the hard work you put into it. It really makes the breaks go by fast. Okay, so I think that that's a neat way to do this. As long as you guys are good, like we can look back at what is said and stuff. I do like kind of going back over the testimony this way rather than me trying to remember it and trying to form thoughts. Reading it is easier than piecing, than going thought or going part by part, like what we just said. Okay, I think let's go with this one. I think Chad created it as a way to manipulate people. Oh, I think that he. I don't know if he's ever been diagnosed as anything, but I kind of see him as a narcissistic type person who has these great beliefs, thoughts, and stuff, and don't know that they're using it to manipulate people, but are, because it is their belief. But then they see the reaction to those around them who are mesmerized by the things they are saying, and therefore they begin to build more and more and more on top of that. They begin to have more visions, more. Oh, there, but
thank you. Please be
maybe
seated.
in a members only. I'll talk about that another time.